and you've been wondering, what is this place about? You guys are a little bit on the crazy side, just a little bit on the edge sometimes. And, today we're going to look at our DNA, or our core values. And a little bit different message today. And, it's not just for the City Life family, because, I really believe even if this is your first time or you're new to City Life, we hope this catches in your heart as well. And, I really believe that these are value statements. These statements are going to ignite faith in you and inspire you to make some bold steps of faith into a new phase or a new place in your walk with Jesus and in knowing Jesus. Everyone say, new place. New place. See, some of you are going to take a step of faith from just showing up to church to actually making a commitment, to making God's house and worshiping God a priority in your week, a priority in life. Because you know what? There's strength that comes to your life through commitment. There's strength that comes into your marriage when you commit to your spouse. There's strength that comes to your friendships when you commit to them. Strength. Everyone say strength through commitment. Some of you might take the step of faith from being just attenders to being owners. Where church isn't just this church. This church is great, but my church. Not just this church, but my church. My church is great. My church is awesome. My church is about this. You're going to go from being attenders, owners. Others of you are going to take a step of faith from being consumers. Coming in and enjoying the atmosphere. Enjoying having somebody watch your kids for an hour. Enjoy great music. Enjoy the free coffee. You're going to go from being consumers to contributors. Because, see, contributors, man, there's something great about contributing to something greater than yourself. Something greater than just your own life. Something greater than just your own family. There's something that happens. See, you might have been able to influence or bring one or two people with you to church since the beginning of 2015. But you know what? If you are a contributor and not just a consumer, if you're a contributor, you got to be a part of influencing over 250 people that have walked through the doors of the church for the first time. You on your own? One or two. But you know what? When you contribute and you're part of something greater and you're giving and you're contributing your life to building something greater than just yourself, man, you're going to be a part of the expanded benefits. And you know what? For all of us, I really believe something is going to get seeded in our hearts. These aren't just going to be catchy phrases and statements, but there's going to be something here. It's not just information, but something our heart catches a hold of. And so what is the City Life Code? Well, the City Life Code is what you're going to find on this baby right here. You can pull it out. The City Life Code, it's our value statements as a church. It's what we stand for as a church. And see, you have values. Maybe you're conscious of those values, maybe you're not. But we all have values. Your values might be a little bit different from mine, and that's okay. Because our unique combination of values are what make us uniquely us, make you uniquely you. But as a church, it's important that we have common values. And you know what? Your values are things that are important to you. And the reason they're so impacting is because values influence you. They inspire you. They motivate you. Values determine how you see the world around you. Values determine the choices you make. Values determine the places you go or the places you don't go. Values even determine what you talk about or how you talk about certain things. All of that about you is influenced by your values. Again, you might know that. You might be conscious of your values, maybe not. But there are values that you have that are influencing you. And so, where did the City Life Code come from? Well, it was a painful endeavor, people. It was a painful endeavor. Our executive staff, we got together over a 3-month period of time, December, January, and February. And man, we just started digging. We started digging into the history of the church. We started digging to try to figure out what makes us tick, what we're good at, what the things are that we get excited about, the things that, have worked really well for us, and the things that we suck at. Maybe it's good to know what you're bad at in order to figure out, again, that's not what we are. Come on, we did some digging because we wanted to find out what comes naturally to us, what is unique about us. And so we prayed over these things. We kind of fought over some of the statements. We did our best to come up with some easy to remember, catchy statements that would be sticky. I'm going to say sticky is good. Sticky is good. And so you might be, maybe you're thinking, well, why do you need something like that? Why didn't you isn't the church just supposed to be nice and just help people and be like Jesus? No. We're supposed to be like Jesus, yes, but not just be nice. And we need the code because the code it gives us, it unifies us. It gives us common language that describes the type of people we want to be and we're working at becoming. Not only as individuals, but corporately. What we're becoming as a church. But most of all, the code it helps build culture. Culture is really big around here. And sometimes culture it's easily to distinguish certain things about culture. How many of you ever traveled to a foreign nation? To a different culture? Sometimes there's things that you can easily pick up. There's certain things that when you go overseas, certain things that when you're greeting people that are common in our culture, if you do them over there, they take it as an insult. There's certain ways of acting that, they're part of our culture, but in another culture, they don't quite work. And so there's tangible things about culture, but there's also intangibles. And culture, believe it or not, culture is so important because our role as a church, believe it or not, is not about having great programs to help people. Our role as a church is not to help you and your family become better. Our role as a church isn't about doing cool things to entertain people. Our role and our function as a church is to make Jesus Christ attractive to everyone. That is what the role of the church is. I want to look at, this is what we live and function for. It's to make Jesus Christ attractive. Paul described it this way in Philippians 1, 10 and 11 in the Message. He said, live a lover's life, making Jesus Christ attractive to all. Look at that. All means everyone. Making Jesus Christ attractive to all. Getting everyone involved in the glory and praise of God. See, making Jesus Christ attractive, that's about how we represent him. That's about how we show him off. Are we making Jesus attractive? How many of you ever seen a raw diamond before? Anybody seen a raw diamond? There is one up on the screen. The media's going to put up there. There is a raw diamond. Probably looks very different than any diamond you've ever seen before, unless you were a gemologist and you know what a raw diamond looks like. But those things aren't quite as pretty as the things that we have on our fingers. A diamond in the raw, it has a whole lot of earthy stuff attached to it. When the diamond comes out of the ground, when it's mined, it has a whole lot of dirt, it has a whole lot of rock, it has a whole lot of other not so great stuff around it. Everyone say earthy stuff. And see, it's the earthy stuff that a gemologist needs to remove in order for the beauty and the value of the diamond to be able to be seen and experienced by the average person. Now, when it comes to the beauty and the attractiveness of Jesus Christ, there is a lot of earthy stuff attached to what sometimes we display through our lives. We're the earthy stuff, people. Our attitudes, our conduct, our habits is the earthy stuff. See, Jesus is attractive. Not a single person that walked the planet was turned off by Jesus. You know what they're turned off by? Earthy stuff. People might think I don't want anything to do with Jesus. I don't believe in that God stuff, and I could care less about that. Who cares? You know what? It's not him. It's some earthy piece of junk that was attached to the diamond, to the message of the good news that turned people off. And see, culture is about removing the earthy stuff so the beauty and attractiveness of Jesus Christ can be seen by all. That's what we want to do. We want to do everything we can to bring out the beauty of Jesus, to bring out the awesomeness of the good news message, that we have life forever through Jesus Christ, that God is for us, that God is for you, that God has good for you. And see, that's where culture comes into play, and that's where our values are so important. When we are intentional about building a culture that displays and shows the attractiveness of Jesus Christ, that is what we are wanting to build. And so the statements that we're going to look at today, you could look at them. There's threads of DNA that make up who we are as City Life, who we are as a church. And each statement in this code is really, it's an attitude or an attribute of Jesus Christ. Each one of these reflects an attitude or an attribute of Jesus Christ. And see, as we create an atmosphere that is so thick with the reality, the attributes of Jesus Christ, you know what? That has a magnetic pull to it. That's the kind of thing that pulls people into worshiping and seeing Jesus for who he really is. They might not recognize it, but see, that's what people are attracted to. They're attracted to Jesus. Good preaching and good music is not enough. It's not. It's Jesus people are drawn to, whether they know it or not. That is the only thing that is causing people to really have their lives transformed. Now, the music, the environment, that's culture. And so let's look at our core purpose statement right at the top, and we are going to say it together. Our core purpose statement, man, this is why we exist as a church. This sums up everything about us. This sums up our mission. This sums up our purpose. This sums up everything about us. Making it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. Let's say that together. Making it easy for people to say yes to Jesus, whether it's for the first time or the 500th time. Every single person has another yes to say to Jesus. You have a yes to say to Jesus today. You have a yes to say to Jesus tomorrow. Will you say yes to him? And see, we want to do everything in our power to create an environment that makes it easy for people to be able to say yes to Jesus, not only in a Sunday setting, but in everything we do. We want to make it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. Because this is God's heart. I love how he words it in Isaiah 11:15 in the voice. It says, man, I love this. It says, and the eternal will make it easy. And then look at, so easy. Isn't that great? The eternal will make it easy, so easy for God's people to return. This was talking about his people when they were in bondage and when they were far from him. And God said, I want to make it easy for them to get out of all of that and to come be with me. And you know what? That is God's heart, and that is our heart. And that's why, man, we want to make it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. That answers why we do what we do and why we don't do certain things. You might have wondered or had a conversation, well, why don't you guys do blank? Well, we just don't feel it. That contributes to making it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. No, it will look different from our church to another church. That might work for them and make it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. But it might not work here. That's why we want to remove every roadblock we possibly can. So it makes it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. And it's the earthy stuff, that's the roadblock. We want to make it as easy as we can. We don't want people to have to jump through hoops before they can be a part of church, before they can come in and connect in and be involved. And you know what? We can do this without compromising. We can do this without compromising. And so let's jump in. We're going to look at the City Life Code. The City Life Code, our DNA. Let's look at the first one. Number one. Let's say it together, the first one at the top. We give our best because our God is the best. How cool is that? We give our best because our God is the best. I love that. You know what? This means that we want to represent God well in all that we are, in all that we do. That means not just on Sundays. That means you at school. That means you at work. That means you out on the soccer field. That means you at the ice hockey rink. That means wherever else you're going with your children or your friends or your families. We want to represent him well at the restaurant by leaving a good tip. Hello. We give, and you know what? This attribute of giving our best, you know what this is? The attribute of Jesus that this is excellence. See, there's so much in Scripture talking about God's excellent greatness, God's excellent wisdom, God's excellent power. And look at how Paul worded this in Philippians 1. He said, My prayer for you is that you may have still more love, a love that is full of knowledge and wise insight. I want you to be able always to recognize the highest and the best. You know what the highest and the best is? That is excellence. It's just another way of describing what is excellence, the highest and the best, and to live sincere and blameless lives until the day of Jesus Christ. See, this isn't about being excellent just so we can say we're perfectionists. Excellence and perfection is a different thing. But excellence is giving our best. Excellence is you giving your best at your job. You giving your best to your spouse. You giving your best to your kids, to your friends. You giving your best to your employer. You giving your best to God in every way. And you know what? Excellence is what God did for us. He went the extra mile when he came to earth as a man in order to redeem humanity. He came to earth. That was going the extra mile. He came himself. That was going the extra mile. See, excellence is being concerned with the small things. And you know what? Yep, we don't get this right all the time, but it's something we work for. And you know what? Excellence is something that you can take on. And that's why when church becomes my church, you start seeing with eyes of excellence. You start seeing with a whole new perspective. Oh my gosh, there's garbage on the floor. I'll pick it up. Oh my gosh, there's little toilet paper shreds on the washroom floor. Instead of, well, the excellence team and the janitors will get that. It's like, pick it up. The kids have splashed and sprayed deodorant all over the mirrors, like they do. If your kids do that, teach them that's not excellent. But if you see it, wipe it off. Excellence is saying hi to somebody that you've never met before. Excellence is not saying that's the janitor, that's a welcome home team's job. No, that's your job. Excellence, going the extra mile. See, when we give our best through excellence, that attribute of Jesus Christ begins to grow in our culture. And that begins to change the atmosphere. Everyone say excellence. Let's say that one again. Excellence. We give our best because our God is the best. Number 2. Here we go. Let's say this again. Together. 1, 2, 3. You can belong before you believe. Man, I love this. You can belong. Look at the person beside you. Say, you can belong before you believe. You can belong before you believe, and I love this statement. We hijacked this from the Blackwood family. The Blackwood family is an awesome family in this church, and Mark Blackwood stood up here one Sunday when he was welcome everyone. He said, we have a saying at the Blackwood home. It's this: the first time you're here, you're a guest. After that, you're family. And I'm like, we are so hijacking that as a church. Way to go, Mom and Dad Blackwood. First time here, you're a guest. After that, you are family. Come on. That's what people in our world are looking for. They're looking for that place of connection. And you know, the attribute of Jesus, or the attitude of Jesus that this is about being inclusive. Because Jesus lived an inclusive life. Jesus lived in a way that was continually drawing people in. He intentionally invited people into his life. And you know what? I really believe that he went out of his way to draw 12 guys close to him before they even believed in him. He brought them into his inner circle before they even believed in him. And you know what? I believe so because so many times we see story after story about Jesus and his interaction with these guys, and they're like, who is this man? This is like, well, who the heck did you think you're following for the last couple of years? They're like, really? Who is he? We don't know. They were always asking Jesus questions, and you're like, you guys clueless or what? I actually think they were. I actually think they had no idea who he was, so they really couldn't believe in who he was, because right up until the end, even at the end, they all ditched him. They ran when he was going in before the courts, the Jewish courts, and went to the cross. They all ran away. People who believe in you, friends who believe in you, don't do that. So Jesus had this inclusive life, allowing people to belong to his circle of friends before they believed. I love it. Jesus went to a guy by the name of Zacchaeus, his house. Zacchaeus was a short little tax collector, one of the most hated men around. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. Jesus said, I'm coming over to your house today. We're having lunch together. Jesus included himself in his life. So you know what this means? You can participate, you can belong even before you believe. God's family is an inclusive family. God's family is an inclusive family. Do we always get this right? No, but we're working towards it. You can belong before you believe. Let's say that one again. You can belong before you believe. And number 3, look at this. We do whatever it takes. Let's say that together. We do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Look, I love that. What a great picture. I will get all of that stuff home. You know what? They actually do that in Africa. I have seen that for real. It is crazy. It's crazy what they carry. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this stuff out there. We do whatever it takes. In other words, we are contributors, not consumers. We are contributors, not consumers. And see, what enables you to be a contributor is something called ownership. And see, this is the attribute of Jesus. Everyone say the attribute. See, these aren't just cool things and things that we think, oh, we should do this. No, this is an attribute of Jesus. As Jesus followers, this attribute should be a part of us. This is a culture we're building in us as a church. What enables us to be a contributor is something called ownership. Again, God took ownership of the mess humanity made, and he came to earth himself, and he said, I am going to contribute my best in order to redeem humanity back. I'm going to give my best to restore purpose to creation. See, God took ownership. Was he responsible for the mess? Nope. But he took ownership. And see, ownership answers a question why we want to grow in a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. It's so that when we come together, we can contribute and not just come in with this, I need. Yeah, we do have needs. But you know what? If we live with that attitude of I need, there's a place where we need to grow up. And there's a place where when we contribute, why we want to grow is so that we have something to contribute. Maybe you're involved in a connect group. It's so that you can come and you can contribute to someone else's life. It's why we want to grow, so we can contribute something. And maybe those of you that are, have young people, you can contribute to things like Fuel and Fusion. We want to grow and release out of the overflow of the life of God within us. We want to release our faith. That's why we connect in beyond Sundays, because we want to contribute to someone else's life. It's why parents are so important. You get your kids connected in beyond Sunday. Hello. Fuel, Fusion. Get connected into a connect group. Get connected into the young adults. Get connected into the gathering on Friday night. Get connected in on a team. Get connected in beyond Sunday life, because you've got something to contribute. You've got something, one word of encouragement to bless somebody else's life. It's why we practice and develop skills. It's why we take on a role that's outside our comfort zone, because we want to contribute. It's why we come early and on time, because we want to contribute with an atmosphere, to the atmosphere of expectation. God's going to do something great. It's why we fight personal battles, and we fight them until we win, because you want to contribute to the next generation. You want to contribute to your family being strong. You want to contribute to be able to give someone else hope in the very battle that you're fighting and you win in. See, that's why we fight and win. It's not just so that we can be in victory and we can have peace in our home and peace in our marriages and have great friendships. It's so that we've got something to contribute to others. And let's say number 4. This is where we're going to have a little bit of fun on the fun one. Number 4. We're a passionate house full of laughter and fun. In other words, we serve the Lord with gladness, bringing that life wherever we go. Aren't we crazy? Man, you know what? That is us in the full flesh. That was the 20th anniversary party. That was... Yeah, Chris is on Pat's shoulders dancing. This was the boy dance, wasn't it? This was a guy's dance. Guys only dance. Yes, this, like I said, we push it a little bit. We push the limit a little bit. I like these two guys here in the corner. That's awesome. You know what? You know what the attitude of Jesus, the attribute of Jesus is? Jesus was a life bringer. He was a life bringer. He was positive. He was uplifting. He brought great joy. You know, at his baptism, God the Father said, "This is my Son in whom I'm well pleased. He brings me great joy." Jesus brought great joy to the Father. There was a party. It was loud. You know what was so cool? There was great joy at Jesus' birth. God the Father arranged for the largest choir ever to sing at Jesus' birth. It said all the hosts of heaven were there singing. That is a party, people. Hello, it was a party. Jesus, so many times when his words were in John 16:33, he said, "Be of good cheer." John 10:10, "I've come to bring you life and life more abundantly." John 15:11, "I've told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy." Yes, your joy will overflow. Jesus was not a stick in the mud. See, God has a sense of fun. That's why there was so much celebrating in the Bible. You know what? God is so into fun. That's why he wrote it as part of the law. It was written into the law. They had to party. How fun is that? They had to. That's how much God loves a good time. Listen, you have to party. It is the rule. You have to have fun. It is a rule. What a cool God. Come on, there is no other so-called God that had that stipulation. Come on, you gotta party, you gotta have fun. Jesus' first miracle was providing wine for a wedding. There you go, just interpret that however you want. Nothing in excess, though. You know what fun is about? Fun is about being positive. It's about being uplifting. It's about laughter. It's about celebrating. That's why you come in here and it's loud. You know what? We're a passionate house full of laughter and fun. You know what passionate means? Loud. Literally. And you know what? If you ever come in here and you park across the street, across the Legion, in what's called behind Leduc Foundation, you literally can hear the music walking in. I kid you not. Every time I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can feel the thump, you know, the bass. It's awesome. It's loud. It's fun. You know what? We want church to be the best place you are all week. You know, if you go on to the City Life website, there is the year-end video or the City Life in a nutshell video. You can watch that. And JD makes a great statement on there. He goes, you know how you laugh so hard that your head hurts? He goes, I love how that happens most at church. And you know what? That's what we're about. We want to have fun in God's house. And you know why? We can do that without sacrificing depth and devotion. Hello. Come on. You can do that without sacrificing depth and devotion. Laughter is a sign of intelligence. It is. Sense of humor is a sign of intelligence. It is. But you know why laughter and fun is so important for us as a church? It's because our northern Alberta climate is so conducive to creating heaviness and depression in people. It is. Our winters and just we don't know if summer's ever going to come. Maybe we go from winter to summer, who knows? And, and maybe it comes back winter again in June. It has happened. And all of that, the schizophrenic weather system, that will make anybody schizophrenic. It will make anybody heavied out. I'm saying this. Some of you know exactly what I mean. But you know what? If we can be the place filled with joy, that's uplifting, that's positive, and man, we can have that kind of atmosphere that can pull people out. They can come into God's house, and that can pull them out of despair. They can have a jolt of joy for this week. Now, they might not like it at first because sometimes when you're depressed, you don't like happy people. But you just need to be happy. You might do that song, Happy. I like that. You know what? We're not meant to view life from this solemn, indifferent, we just have to endure kind of thing. Jesus wanted us to have life and life abundantly. Our world is looking for happy. Man, a month ago, I went in doing yoga in Edmonton, and I walked in. I'm like, what in the world is that noise coming from the room? It was this, and I'm like, my gosh. And they're like, it's a happy class, and it's a laughter yoga class. And I'm like, are you serious? They teach people how to laugh because they need therapy. That's exactly what it is. Come on, our world is looking for happy, and we can do it better than anybody else because we have Jesus. Oh my gosh, I gotta hurry. Number 5, we choose we over me. Everyone say that. We choose we over me. We don't just go to church, we are the church. And so you know what attitude this is? This is the attitude of humility. And this is one of the most attractive attributes of Jesus Christ. It's what made him unlike the religious teachers of the day. Because you know what? Pride is about me. Humility is about we. Humility recognizes that life isn't about me and my needs. Humility defers to the needs of others. Not because I have to or because it's forced, but out of assertive love. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's actually thinking of yourself less. The humble person thinks, what can I do for you? Not, what will you do for me? Can this church do for me? What can this church do for my family? What can this church do for my kids? Humility says, what can I do for you? The humble person isn't caught up in how much they need, but in how much they can enrich the life of others. And you know what? Church doesn't exist for me. We are the church, and we exist for the world. And see, this attribute, we are the church, it's the attribute of I'm here because I have something to contribute. You know, in Rome, we need each other. Romans 12, Paul described it this way. He said, so it is with Christ's body, which is the church. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. And see, you know what? Your body, each part is vitally important, isn't it? And you know what? If you automatically had your hand cut off, you wouldn't just have one last body part. You wouldn't just be, minus a hand. It wouldn't just be one less, whatever body part. You would actually injure the body by having that body part cut off. And it's the same way in God's family. You know what? If there's one part missing, man, it's not just, oh, you weren't here today. Oh, so-and-so wasn't here today. Oh, so-and-so, was there. You know what? You injure the body. Every part is so valued. Every part is so valuable. This next one, we use creativity to inspire change. Let's say that together. We use creativity to inspire change. And this is about expressing God's never-changing love to an ever-changing world. And this was an attribute of Jesus was creativity. He was creative in how he healed people. Sometimes he spoke to them. Sometimes he put his hands on them. Sometimes he spit in the mud and put that on their eyes. It was creative in how he taught. He held people's attention by using creative illustrations and connected deep kingdom truths into, business and marketing and fishing. And he was even creative in how he raised money. To pay taxes, he told one of his disciples, you know what? We need to pay taxes. Go fishing. You'll find a fish. In its mouth will be a coin. Go pay taxes with that. How creative is that? And see, we are creative in the way that we do church and in the way we communicate the gospel. You know what? Whether it's through media or music or weird mullet pictures or children composing songs or using animal traps on the stage or other weird things, it's going to be different and it's creative because we want to inspire change. We want to inspire change and changing your mindsets about what you believe about God and yourself and what you believe about who your role in this world. Maybe we can inspire other churches to do church in a healthy way that will be able to impact their community. We want to foster an environment where there's God-honoring creativity, and that means we want it to be thick with creativity so you can get an idea, maybe for a business, or you can get an idea how to solve a problem in a relationship, or how to solve a problem at work, or how to maybe come up, maybe you'll write a book, maybe you'll write songs. Let's read number 7 together. That's where we're going to enlarge this a little bit more. We're generational. Just look around you for a minute. Look around. Look at all the different people, different ages, different stages in life. You're all so different. Being generational. means we are intentional about reaching down to generations below us. We're intentional about reaching down and honoring up generations that have gone before. And you know what? The attribute or the attitude of Jesus that this releases into us as a church when we function this way, it's the attitude of respect. It's the attitude of respect. I want us to read Mark 10:14-16 in the boys. Jesus was no respecter of person. He was no respecter of generation either. Look at, he said, let the children come to me and don't ever stand in their way. Everyone say, don't ever. Don't ever stand in their way, for this is what the kingdom of God is all about. Truly, anyone who doesn't accept the kingdom of God as a little child can never enter it. Jesus gathered the children in his arms and he laid his hands on them to bless them. Now, this is a culture where children were kind of, you know what, they had their space. Adults had their space. There was very much a love of family. There was a love and a respect of family. But kids also, man, there was a place you were quiet, you don't do your stuff. And, you know, this is a time where some people, they were bringing the children to Jesus. And the disciples were like, we don't do that around here. Jesus, you know, he's important. And he doesn't have time for this. So, you know, kids, you know, take them away, please. And Jesus was like, guys, hello. Let them come to me. Jesus was all about the generations. And see, reaching down to those younger, this is not just the responsibility of what we call youth pastors, partly because we don't have youth pastors in this church. We have people who are passionate about the next generation, doing everything they can, but this is what we all do. We all have a responsibility to reach down. Reaching down to those younger, unlocking potential in them. You know how you unlock potential in people? You speak to what you see in them of the potential, because most of us don't see what's in us. We need other people to say, hey, I see this in you. I see this in you. I see this in you. Some diamonds may have lots of earthy stuff on them. You might need faith to say, I see this in you, I hope. But you unlock potential through your words. You unlock potential by building confidence in them. You can do this. This is why we have young people doing all sorts of crazy things. A whole bunch of young people that are in our media room and with our kids and are, you know, serving on all sorts of teams. We want to help unlock the potential in them. And if you're a young person in this church and you are just a consumer, become a contributor. You will unlock potential. I tell you this, man, I cannot tell you how many people have come into this church in their teen years, and they came in, and because they got involved, they got connected to the house of God, they started serving, they started doing things. I don't even know if I like this. Oh, actually, I do. Actually, I'm actually really good at this. And you know what? They're in careers now. They are lawyers because of potential that got unlocked in the house of God. They've started businesses because of potential that got unlocked in the house of God. They're amazing parents and husbands and wives because of potential that got unlocked in the house of God. But you've got to make the decision. Honoring older generations is recognizing the value of their wisdom. Hello, young people. And I'm not talking about teenagers. I'm talking about young adults. Honor the wisdom of those who are older than you. Man, I say this so often. I'm going to say it again. Do not go to your single friends for relationship advice. That is a recipe for disaster. There's a reason they're single. You honor the wisdom of those who are older and who are married. It's recognizing the value of the older generation's experience. Hello, they've maybe had 20, maybe 10, maybe 30 years of stupid, and they can tell you not to do it. Honoring the older generation, their strength, their perspective. It's a lot broader than your 15 or 30 years. This is about the passion of the younger. The passion of those younger needs the wisdom of the older. And that is a lethal combination. That is how you unlock dreams. The passion of youth needs guidance, and the experience of years needs an outlet. You consider yourself older? You are needed. You are valued. And there's a place for you to contribute in this house. See, you're never too young to influence someone younger than you. You might say, I'm 12 years old, I'm 10 years old. Man, you know what? I was back there. I was going to the washroom, and one of the boys was running out of the women's washroom. I'm like, what are you doing in here? This is the girls' washroom. And he's like, I know, but one of the preschoolers ran in there. He was in there helping. You know what? It's one of our 8, 9 years old in there, but they're reaching down. They're serving in the preschool class. They're helping. It's awesome. You're never too young to reach down. You're never too young. You're never too old to put your strength and wisdom into new dreams and new endeavors. Everyone say we're generational. Oh my gosh, we're good going. We're building for longevity and legacy. Let's say that together. We're building for longevity and legacy. In other words, we want to create a culture that outlasts us. And you know what? The attribute of Jesus that we want to release into this house, this is the attribute of generosity. Look at John 17 with me. And this is Jesus speaking. He said, I'm not asking solely for their benefit. He was talking to his Father about the disciples. He said, this prayer is also for all the believers, that's you and I, who follow them and hear them speak. All the glory you have given to me, I pass on to them. In other words, I'm setting them up for greatness. May that glory unify them and make them one as we are one, I and them, you and me, that they may be refined so that all will know that you sent me, that you love them in the same way you love me. You know what? We want to set up the future church for greater impact than what we are having. And you know what? It's a generous heart. Everyone say generous heart. It's a generous heart that will give and sacrifice and build for something you yourself may never experience. And you do it in faith, believing that it's going to see results, that it's going to see impact. See, the greatest corporations in the world have this understanding. They understand we got to build something that outlasts us. Man, how much more should the church? How much more should we as a building something for eternity? You know, the attitude that Jesus had was this. He said in John 14, I tell you the truth, whoever believes in me will be able to do what I have done. Look at this. But, everyone say but. They will do even greater things because I will go and I return to be with the Father. Man, greater things in Jesus is what he was saying you're going to do. And you know what? This is what we want to set. We want to do everything in our power to set up the next generation to have their own experience with God, to have their own encounter with God in a powerful way that will alter them so they can alter their world and make a difference. We want to build something that outlasts us. Let's read number 9 together. We do church for those that don't do church. I think we need to say that one more time a little bit stronger. We do church for those who don't do church. In other words, we will do anything short of sin to reach people for Jesus. How many of you have ever had a conversation with somebody and it's to the gist of, I don't do church? That has become your new trigger word. Because what you can say now is when you hear, I don't do church, you can say, awesome, you should come to my church because we do church exactly for people like you. That's what you do. It's your new trigger word. You should come to my church because we do church exactly for people like you. It's crazy. There is so much smoke you can hardly see things in the room. You'll feel like you were in the club on Saturday night. Hello, that's why we do it. It's true. Why do we have lights out here? Why do we smoke? There's a lot of different reasons, but I like to think it also, you know what, it does feel like a club. You can come into church and just might be struggling from that hangover and you just feel like you're still at the club. It is. See, you know what? In society, there's a huge category of people disillusioned by the church. And we are going to reverse that. We are going to reverse that. And see, it's why we have the attitude is, you know what? We're not going to guilt you. We're not going to shame you. We're not going to beat you up on Sunday morning. You're going to come in here and you're going to be uplifted. And see, that's why we are bombarded daily by negative media. We are bombarded by negative influences that destroys the confidence in people. And see, you know what the attitude of Jesus that this really is? It's one of putting value on people. Jesus placed high value on individuals. And see, you know what? That was God's love for humanity. God did everything he could. He went to an extreme lengths, coming to earth himself, coming as Jesus Christ in order to redeem and buy back humanity from our brokenness and our sin. God did anything he could. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm going to do it. Jesus continually increased the value of people. He brought people close to him that nobody else wanted. He talked to people others marginalized and avoided. He talked about the value of people. And you know what? We say anything short of sin, because we won't compromise on our integrity to bring truth. This isn't just about anything goes so we can reach people. Because you know what? Truth hurts sometimes. Truth is painful sometimes. Truth makes you uncomfortable. And we will do that because it will bring you to a place of freedom in Jesus. Truth that this is talking about is more about, it's we'll do anything short of sin. This is about the human side of us. We'll just kind of, deal with some of the human stuff that we can get beyond and, doing things that aren't typically associated with church. Paul worded it this way. Man, he said in 1 Corinthians 9, I have become all things to all men so that by all possible means, everyone say that, by all possible means I might save some. And let's read number 10 because this sums up all of them. Ready? Let's read it together. Why? Because we get to. It is an honor and a privilege to build God's house. And you know what? The attribute of Jesus this releases is an attitude of respect or attitude of honor. Jesus honored his Father by completing his assignment. Look at what he said, John 17. I have glorified you on earth and fulfilled the mission you set for me. That word glorified means to honor, to worship. And see, this is about having an appreciation for the house of God, having an appreciation for the people that are sitting next to you, having appreciation for each other that you get to do life with, you get to do team with, you get to be in connect group with, you get to be in fuel and fusion and gathering or wherever you're at with. And you know what? One of the things is it can be such an easy thing that in an atmosphere like this, that is awesome. It is amazing that we can become so familiar with it that we lose the appreciation and the awe factor for what we get to be a part of. We get to build something for eternity. We get to make the desires of God's heart become a reality here on this earth. Because you know what church is? Church is a connection point between heaven and earth. That is incredible. That is an incredible place. That is an incredible thing that we can build. I love this. And you know what? It really speaks to this attitude because we get to, this is really God's attitude. It shows that God is more a yes God than a no God, don't God, can't God, shouldn't God. I love what for 2 Corinthians 1:20 it says, in Jesus we hear a resounding yes to all of God's many promises. Because we get to, this is God's heart for you and I. Let's stand. And I want you to close your eyes and we're going to pray because you know what? What is your yes? I want you to close your eyes and think, God, what is a yes that I need to say to you today? And I want to speak specifically to a group of people that this today could be the first day that you say yes to a relationship starting with Jesus Christ. Maybe you've known about God. Maybe you believed in God. But you know what? Believing in God is not the same as saying yes and having a relationship with Jesus Christ. There is a big difference. In James, it says, even the demons believe in God and tremble. And I can tell you they are not followers of Jesus Christ. But there is a yes that I know might be burning in your heart, saying yes to the gift of salvation. I want everyone to close your eyes. And I want you to pray this prayer together with me because it's giving language to how do I say yes to salvation. And let's pray this prayer out loud together. Just say, Jesus, thank you for coming and living and dying in my place and rising again so that I could have new life. I say yes to this gift of salvation, of a brand new start. And I thank you that today I am made new. Amen. Amen. Let's give him praise.